Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking. I need your help. So I've got an assignment in a couple of days, and it's to do a poetry portfolio of 60 lines worth of poetry, I think is the actual maximum that you can do. And basically I have a poem already that is in fact 64 lines long. You could do one or several, but this one happens to be a long one that I already had. And yeah, but I was looking through all of the ones, and this one is by far my favourite. It was described once as my one-hit wonder, which I sincerely hope that it is not. So basically, I am going to read out the full version of that poem today, the 64-line version, and see what people think actually works and what doesn't. That's the idea. So, and if you think the poem is just terrible anyway, then tell me and I can put something else in the assignment, because I've got other stuff lined up. So, yeah, let's find out, shall we? It's a bit of a weird poem because it's based on an improvisation, well, a series of improvisations that I did that I coordinated as a volunteer at Open Stage a couple of years ago. So, it's a very weird character that was a reoccurring joke in that place, and I basically made it so that this was this was a story somewhat of somebody who survived and is living to tell the tale of his meeting with this character. The character in question is called King Cone. I shall now begin. Beneath the ground we walk on, below the soil and stone, lives a voracious ruler on a sculpted seat of bone. The floor of endless canyons, as well as clifftops tall, that is where he'll catch the ones who dare to slip and fall. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. He waits and waits to lure his baits and give them all the cruellest fates. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. The meanest king I've ever known is old King Cone. And should it come to pass that you end up in his lair, here's tips and tricks of what to do from someone who was there. Just squeeze into the open cracks you'll find in every wall. His royal guard shall find it hard to see you if you're small. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. Be sure to never make a sound, for that is when you shall be found. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. To the main room you'll be shown, where you'll find King Cone. His figure was enormous, his stare as cold as ice. You'll know he wants to eat you, and he'll relish every slice. Take them to the dungeons, I want them for my puddin'. His tone was full of menace, and his voice was hoarse and wooden. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. He's coated in a suit of pine, and his head sports a crown of twine. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. One shouldn't ever go alone 'gainst old King Cone. If ever you should meet him, here's what you have to do. Just simply run! The job is done! He can't catch up to you! You needn't break a record, just keep a steady track. You'll likely hear him try to stand, and then he'll strain his back. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. He tries and tries to exercise, but when he does, he almost dies. King Cone, King Cone, King Cone upon his throne. Soon you'll be back at home, safe from old King Cone. And that's the poem. So, yeah, you can tell that King Cone was a comedic figure, because as we moved on, developing, I guess, the King Cone mythos, as it were, it turned out that he was always sat on this massive pile of chairs that we had, and we made it into a throne. And Noah, the actor who played King Cone, was he made it so that every time he would try and stand up, he would strain his back, for example. And yeah, so he never moved too much. He was always like a looming presence over the top, which is why I was trying to capture for this poem. That I like the menace and the fact, and the basically the fear of of an absolute monarch. So yeah, I guess that is it. And I tried to have a bit of a combination between like a bit of a classical rhyming scheme and meter to it, but with some modern rhymes and maybe a bit of humor tossed in the side. So I don't know. That was what I was going for. I don't know, but again, poetry is up to interpretation. So I guess let me know what you thought in the comments, or some other place. I think I'm going to put this on Facebook as well, so you can message me there what you think of the poem and such. So yeah, I'm just going to see what people think all over, because, you know, I need some feedback. So yeah, please give me your feedback. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you know the drill. Please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. And on that note, until next time, farewell.